It's going to make this interception that much more painful.
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. Bunch of stuff still in the balance for me, but it's not looking good for my afternoon games, Andy. The morning games were good, weird, bad, all kinds of different emotions about the way that the NFL Sunday has unfolded for me so far. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I wish the Niners would score a little more. Obviously, that would help. I got the best of the number there in a 6. It's a point away from what I needed. Apparently, if they can get a stop here, they have a chip chair and a chance. Obviously, they would never think of kicking a field goal to try to cover for us. So then we would also be sweating an overtime push at some point, or maybe a last-second field goal. But by a pick 6 and then a last-second field goal by the Cardinals, that'd be great. Cowboys live betting went good. Early live betting went good. The only live betting that went bad was thinking that the Broncos were going to get back into it. That did not happen. The Chargers game has been a ton of fun. Some steam that was just not rewarded whatsoever. The under in that one, and the Jets were heavily steamed, and that's just how it goes sometimes, man. Like, I believed in people that were betting on the Jets. There were some good reasons. So even getting back in that game felt weird for them. They were that was a ugly way to start the morning. Otherwise, obviously a really, really, really goofy. I hate even using the term witching hour because I think it's dumb, but that's what it was. It was nuts for a while. The field goal stuff was nuts. Before we get through to going through all the games and kind of doing a little recap quick, I got a quick Prize Picks promo to mention. For any new users, free money. This one is Josh Allen to complete a pass, which you were awful hard on the Bills, but I think even you will believe he can get over the 0.5 passes completed against the vaunted Chiefs defense tonight. Free $25 if you use code BetSpertsNFL on Prize Picks. Maybe I'll put an entry together while you're talking. I don't know. I didn't do so hot in DFS. I did the Bengals stack. That was not as good as the Browns stack, which I had last week. Week early on that one, but yeah. What about you as far as anything else before we get into the games?
Well, I agree with you. I think Josh Allen probably completes a pass, although it has been a dangerous day for the lanky mobile quarterbacks, namely Daniel Jones. Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah, I have a question for you real quick on that because I'm going to give you credit. You nailed the Teddy, and not that he.
Oh, my independent neurology.
But I gave you shit about being an independent neurologist.
Yeah.
But you did call Teddy coming back. So your thoughts on Daniel Jones, who looked like a newborn baby deer when he stood up? That one looked like that. I mean, they called him out right away. That one looked like a possible multi-week one, right?
Yes, I would say yes. And also the Giants season is over, so why push your quarterback back out there? I mean, part of my thinking on the Bridgewater thing, as sad as this is, was I had you have a gut read that after a loss, 3-1 start, the Broncos were going to push him if possible to try to get back out there. And I feel like that's probably what did happen. He didn't look sharp. He wasn't great today. Do you want to go through the results starting with that's it. Browns lose.
Yeah,
Browns lose. Niners not going to cover. Rough afternoon for me. Damn it.
The Niners. It's not looking like the Niners are going to get their stop here. Tampa Bay tied it. Tampa tied up the baseball game. We got some action there. That's fun. I mean, let's just start at the top. We'll kind of skip over the Thursday game. I think we've talked about that already. But London game was UGLY. My stream was from Australia. My maybe illegal stream. I don't know. I was getting Australian commercials on that one for some reason, like weird Australian boner pills and stuff. It was strange watching commercials from another country, and strange watching that game. when I got to the office, I watched the first half at home. But ugly fun there. I guess we got our total. It wasn't easy, but we did get there, and I feel like probably the right side, but no, it was maybe too close to say that with a ton of certainty. And I
Yeah,
don't
no, I
know,
mean,
like
Jets should have
probably
scored
a
a
good
touchdown on that last drive and gotten the cover for the 3.5 backers. But
yeah.
over the balance of the game, Atlanta should have been winning by a lot more than they were heading into that fourth
Yeah.
quarter. I thought fair score probably about
Red zone fumbles.
10. Red zone fumbles are bad. Bad game. Two teams that I don't have. I mean, nothing about what we saw was valuable takeaway other than maybe the Jets' slow start is starting to become like a real thing. I don't exactly want to say it is Zach Wilson's fault because Mike LaFleur's concepts coming out of the game are really predictable, and they don't have the personnel to execute really predictable stuff or even close. So the fact that they start slow isn't shocking, and the fact that they really only get their legs under them when they are like in comeback mode, miracle, their win probability is low, and all of a sudden they have to just kind of open up the playbook a little bit. That's really only when we see them, start to do anything of significance. It's a tough.
Yeah, it's a strong it's a kind of an opposite image of what we see in Everything Nice everybody just said about Brandon Staley for the last couple hours. It's like, yes, he's making sound decisions on fourth down and other game time decisions, but he also has the personnel and the scheme to make it successful. It's so much easier to, pat that guy on the back when it works out more often than not. And that it's like the opposite of the Jets. The Jets don't even have the personnel and the skill position players to make normal game time, like, hey, we should try to get this third down. Like they don't even have the skill position players to make that happen under like neutral game state right now. It's just a really rough roster. It's going to be a long season. Wilson looked bad we said some nice things about him. And yes, he's been inaccurate, but I mean, some of these were very easy throws. And really, I did want to kind of pick on LaFleur a little too. Like people were laughing on the timeline about, Wilson hitting his lineman in the back of the head on that screen pass.
Mm-hmm.
You don't first off, you don't call screen passes at the 10-yard line anyway. That's just a bad idea. You don't have the space for that kind of scheme to work. Like you need much more space for that. It can work in certain types, but that wasn't a screenplay that, the safety's not 30 yards downfield. People can converge a lot quicker on a screen pass. So, I mean, just a lot of things going wrong.
Yeah.
The secret pod play, we'll get to the Philly game, but yeah, let's stop talking about the Sunday game. Let's get to, or the London game, get to the actual stuff that was going on today. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a bad secondary, and that is a problem. But because their offense is a problem if you can't cover those receivers, and that is probably going to result in me not downgrading them for another defensive injury. I'm going to have to check on Lamonte David, see what the
how bad
status
was it?
of him was. Yeah, I don't know if it's a multi-week thing or if he's good for next week. But yeah, another injury to coverage / defense for them, not great. But yeah, the offense was scary today.
Yeah, Brady throttled that Miami defense. The Miami defense is, I guess people talked about it being smoke and mirrors based on, the turnovers and fluky stuff that was not repeatable. But boy, has that come to fruition. I was surprised at how poor that secondary played today. I thought, Miami was hanging in there until the fourth quarter. It got away from them. Jacoby Brissett made mistakes that Jacoby Brissett's going to make. They still had, opportunity to compete in this game. And, then the wheels just entirely come off in the second, late in the second half there. Tom Brady, 5 touchdown passes today. He continues to, put together a really impressive statistical profile, which if the Buccaneers can get the 1 seed, will put him in contention for the MVP, even if he's not deserving of that. But he looks sharp. He's got good chemistry with Antonio Brown. And Miami now has to turn around on a difficult weekend, head to London to play the Jaguars, who we'll get to in a minute.
We'll get to Philly, Carolina was a game nobody should ever rewatch. If you have any inkling of, I should watch a little film, see how that went. maybe save yourself the trouble unless you really want to dig into probably some of the Carolina offense stuff. Little worried about the coaching there. I didn't love some of the play call, the scheme, the sequencing against a team that probably should have been looking a little bit better on offense. And then obviously the late game collapse was rough. But I mean, we like Hurts. We like some of the things he's done. And it just really slow start for Philly today. And that was the secret pod play team total, which looked dead in the water and got there by a half point. I can't believe that either, Sam.
I guess one wild thing about that game, I did not really see the Philadelphia stampede of money coming. The fact that they closed under 3 was a huge surprise. And then they looked like they had no business even compete. Like they looked like they were completely out of that game. In the second half, Sam Darnold did nothing. Offense scored 3 points for Carolina. Matt Rule is not going to be your coach of the year. You can pretty much cross him off the list. Carolina is now going to need to turn things around to get back into the, this, I guess really that loss wide open now, wild card spot number 7. And maybe even number 6, because it doesn't look like San Francisco or Seattle is going to be competing for that spot. So there's going to be some teams now that talk themselves into, oh, wait, actually, we are in playoff contention. One of them is your Minnesota Vikings. One of them is Philadelphia Eagles, Atlanta Falcons. Even at 2-3, those teams can tell themselves that they're still going to be in the mix fighting for that wild card spot. That does not happen if Philadelphia doesn't get the win. So credit to them for fighting. Hurts looked bad. He had a bad game. They still win. I guess there's something to be said about that.
I mean, if you just want to go counting stats, he had a better game than Darnold eventually, which is saying something about Darnold's second half more than anything about Hurts.
Yeah.
The Titans throttled the Jags eventually. That one was looking like, oh no, this is going to be back and forth because both defenses are pretty bad. But then, the attrition of the Titans have better skill position players on the offense kind of caught up to this. The Jags didn't score on every drive. The Titans scored in every quarter. And eventually, even the fourth quarter where they were kind of running away with things. So 37-19, the Jags possibly distracted. I don't know. Obviously, some off the field stuff with them this week, but they're just a bad team and they fall to 0-5. Probably deservedly. There's a team that maybe doesn't deserve to be 0-5, but not much to take away from there. The Titans came out of it healthy, 3-2, and that bit of a race for first place there, I suppose. With if the Colts can get anything done on Monday, otherwise 3-2 is kind of a stranglehold on the division. Because what are the
very bad AFC South, yeah.
Yeah, the very bad AFC South. Because if the Colts, let's say the Colts lose, they're a 7-point dog on the road. They'd be 1-4. Houston is 1-4. The Jags are 0-5. So the Titans are 3-2 with a stranglehold on the division right now. Wow, that is something. Yeah, not much saying that.
Hey, I don't have any thoughts. The Urban Meyer kind of deconstruction, de-evolution, devolving out of the head coaching position there didn't really advance much today. Besides Tennessee getting an easy cover, I didn't.
His one quote, if that's true, the quote about not micromanaging who's on the field for certain plays. He said that there was a weird situation. He's like, I don't micromanage who's on the field for that play. It's like, aren't you kind of where the buck stops, buddy? So another weird quote out of him, but not much.
It didn't. Honestly, I felt like he had 2 games to get this team to play for him. Today was one of them. They didn't. The London game might be the deciding game, one way or the other, about his fate, his future. I still think he's the wrong man for the job and think they need to move on, but I also have a vested interest in that, so it's
a little bit biased there. So I'd love to see him get left in London. Once again, London listeners, be careful. Urban is coming your way this week. We'll update your travel plans. Detroit, Minnesota. I legitimately hated Dan Campbell before the season. This guy's an idiot. He's wearing a motorcycle helmet. He's talking just to quote some people I met in Boston, just talking rag. That's what they say. They taught me that out there. Just talking absolute rag, just being an idiot. And today I felt horrible because he was caught up in his feelings about this loss, and really I don't blame him one bit. I just think about you think about your job, Drew, or anything you really put your heart and soul into. Like I've had stuff at work not go right, but imagine if everything you did for 8 weeks just got at the end of the week somebody came and stomped on your computer start over, or just took your shit and threw it out the window. It has to suck to try so hard and just get stomped on like that. The Lions deserve better because the Vikings coaching was pretty inept with a lead at the late in the game, and they got their heart ripped out again. And it wasn't 60, but man, it was 55 yards. It was a pretty long field goal on a short, a quick drive I think the Vikings had a couple timeouts, but man, they ripped down the field in a hurry and got that out. So that's yucky. I don't think it says much about the Minnesota Vikings as far as the coaching staff. Better roster than we've seen on the field, I guess. You have a receiver who can't be stopped at times. You have a top 5 receiver on that on your roster probably. And the fact that they're content with what they do on offense sometimes is kind of why they're probably 2-3 at this point. So that is the Packers division. I think Chicago won today. That pushes them to 3-2. So they still only are a half game back, but
yeah, Chicago and Minnesota all of a sudden are thinking wild card. And I don't think that's crazy. They have tough schedules, but those were big wins for them today. The fact that they let Detroit hang and we're facing a defeat was incredible in the moment. It was like, what? How is this possible? I'm glad they got the win. I like Minnesota in the mix. I love Justin Jefferson is amazing. The 2 passes Kirk made to Thielen to get them into field goal range were pretty solid, but that was in their back pocket all game, and they waited until at the death to deploy it. So whatever. Minnesota's not a well-coached team in general, in my opinion.
No, it's a bad job of coaching, a bad job of managing that roster, and they were lucky to get a win. I would love to see them in a
Survival, man, was the name of the game today. That there are 2 of them. That one.
I deviated. I went 100% Minnesota.
Oh, I did too.
Because I was going to go Minnesota and New England. And then at the beginning, I was laughing I went Minnesota, not New England. I showed them. And then later, when Minnesota was losing with 30 seconds, New England was winning. I was very, very sad. So we were pretty happy with that result. That I guess for Survivor, I was very happy, and kind of touched on Denver-Pittsburgh a little.
I had no takeaways other than
I want to watch that game. I didn't watch much of that game. I want to see more of what Pittsburgh did. Their offense was decent against very effectively,
which was surprising.
Defense, yeah.
They were much more effective on the ground than we had seen to this point in the season, which was surprising. I did not know you could run on Denver that way, particularly minus EV type of runs. They were working, so that was strange. We skipped over New Orleans, Washington. New Orleans was a hot side this week. That got bet from pick to 2.5. I thought it was going to get to 3. It was taking a lot of money. And New Orleans was the right side there. Obviously, they were helped by that fluky end of first half touchdown by Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston had another really bizarre stat line where he had 4 touchdowns, but really not
200 some yards.
Yeah, it was a very strange statistical performance by him. But they win
50% completion rate. But 4 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah, really weird.
Obviously, Hail Mary. I mean, you can. I don't treat those as some crazy play, even though they are. I treat them like a pick 6 or something. It's just a high leverage play that more chance than skill. Although to be fair, the Washington defenders did a horrible job of getting down there and jumping up and knocking the ball down like you're supposed to. They were just kind of standing around. That's how you lose games. So Washington falls to 2-3, which is good. Washington and the Raiders losing is good for season-long win total bets that I have.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to see them continue to lose. And you're right. The New Orleans team was probably right there. No, it wasn't probably. The New Orleans team was right. The Cincinnati team might have been right, honestly.
Stop it. Oh, stop.
Stop.
Stop. That okay. We will go on and on and on about Brandon Staley and what an amazing coach he is in due time. Matt LaFleur today and his lack of understanding the stakes in that game when he was up against a sharp opponent that was well prepared, and he was he was a more injured team, and getting 3 points on those 2 fourth quarter deep in the red zone drives was utterly inexcusable. That game staying under the total was mind-blowing. I think what were they in the end? 5 missed field goals or something insane. There's absolutely no reason that Green Bay should have even been in that position in overtime to begin with, let alone blow a gift of an interception that put them on the freaking doorstep of points.
It's like the 25, man.
Oh, man. And the 2 calls that they had before the third down field goal attempt were just totally wasted. Didn't even really get your kicker onto the hash you wanted to be on. They just conceded yardage with 2 super soft runs. Green Bay remained soft, but got the win anyway. The fact that got bet across 3 is still mind-blowing to me. There were some places it got down to like 2. Yeah,
I kind of understood it with just the fact that we've seen the rest of the Green Bay secondary be pretty bad. And I think despite what you get from the Rodgers offense, I just think that we saw, you saw a total get bet up and you saw the Bengals get bet, which is just kind of saying like the Bengals will be able to take advantage of this with 3 good receivers and a decent quarterback against an okay pass. Like they have a bad offensive line, but the pass rush isn't electric for Green Bay. And without Jair Alexander, like Cincinnati was going to get theirs. I don't know, kind of before the game, I was thinking, I'm like, man, I almost thought like this kind of lands on 3 or 4 a lot, where like this is going to come down to it. And it's funny, it did end up landing on the 3 for a lot of people pushing, but it did seem like the early Bengals numbers were probably rewarded in a game that the Bengals were going to score in because of those secondary issues. And I think a lot of maybe people were also banking on LaFleur to be a little less aggressive because we've seen that now where he's not taking advantage. It's like the same thing I said about Zimmer. You're not taking advantage of the gifts you've been given with the quarterback first off that you have. And then Devontae Adams, you have a really good tight end in Tanyan. You have some good – you actually have a good offensive line and some good running backs as well. Like that offense should be a lot more than it is right now. And if he doesn't get that straight, it's not going to be a force in the postseason, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I think that's maybe our major takeaway. Like, don't worry about Packers' futures. LaFleur will eventually doom this team at some point. That was just a bananas game. Packers had almost 500 yards of offense in that one, 25 points. Yikes! And they were. I don't know. Bengals in the end, they went for it twice on 4th down. Both plays were excellent. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow continued to develop chemistry. Chase was 6 for 159 today. A couple of key catches too. Devontae Adams, 11 for 206 with a touchdown, but the one that Rodgers missed him wide open on 3rd and goal-ish at the end of the regulation that should have given the Packers a 7-point lead in that game was still haunting me. I do not understand how Rodgers misses that throw. He misses that throw like once every 100 and happened to be on a really high leverage play, which stunk. I'm mad that the Packers didn't get the cover, and I'm mad that the total didn't go over. That was
I'm more mad about that because I had that one bet.
There were so many paths to victory for that.
So obviously when I'm mad about that, I'm live betting. My highest live bet total I had was a 46.5. I had several that had already gotten there. I had a 44 that it was sitting on, obviously, in overtime. And there was a certain point where I was worried. I'm like, there's 46.5 is not going to get there.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I'm going to push on this 44 that has no business pushing on with this 800 yards of offense in this goddamn game. So rough game kind of for both teams in the end. New England, Houston. We saw a very squirrely Houston offense. Are you worried about how good are the Bills then? Are the Bears going to win by 60 tonight? I think maybe probably just a case of
how bad are
another
the
week of
Patriots?
prep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or how bad
another week
bad
of
the
prep for
Patriots, and
Davis
why?
Mills.
And we knew that was just a dead awful number, 8, 9. Patriots shouldn't be favored on the road by almost 10 points. That was super inflated and nonsense, and the Patriots were lucky to get a win. I guess for the Mac Jones Rookie of the Year tickets, that would have been the death blow probably, and we'd be talking about Pitts versus Chase for the rest of the season. Maybe Fields. Fields might be in the mix yet now. I mean, if he continues to get W's, I guess if they make Fields and the Bears make the playoffs, that's probably the Rookie of the Year realistically. Mac Jones was not good today. Mac Jones was efficient, 23 of 30, but only 231 yards. Go ahead.
Question from the chat. He says, and I don't know if you want to do this like with your actual power rankings or how you think these teams from a future standpoint. If I had to just go straight up power rankings, it's really close between, I mean, Tampa's the highest for NFC for me. And then Arizona, Rams, Dallas, Green Bay are all very close to each other.
Yeah, I have the top 5. Is that right?
Yeah.
I would do.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what I'm doing? I'm gonna go Tampa.
Yeah. Big gap.
I'm gonna go
for me.
Big
Tampa,
gap.
Big gap. But I mean,
Arizona, Dallas, Rams.
Let's put a little qualifier on that. Tampa at the end of the season with a fully healthy defense. Big gap. Then the Packers for me. Then the Cowboys. Then Rams and Cardinals basically tied 4th.
I go Cardinals, Dallas, Green Bay, Rams in that order. So, but those are all very close. Like anything could jump one of those over the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I have more faith in the Dallas Cowboys offense than I do the Cardinals or Rams offenses, honestly.
That's why Dallas.
That's why they have to be 3rd. Yeah.
Where
they're
does
great.
That leave us?
Yeah, they continue to be great. We're in the afternoon now.
We're on Vegas, Chicago. Didn't watch much of that game. I was cheering for Chicago. Fields did enough to get the win. Vegas, if the offense is going to look like that, then you are not going to maybe look like the team that everyone was excited about when they were 3-0. Again, didn't catch much of this. I made this game. I made it a 5. That was the market, and I'm glad I didn't bet it, I guess.
I had in my gut a feeling that Chicago was the right side. Didn't get involved at all. Didn't expect Fields. Actually, I'm looking. I didn't watch much of it either, obviously. Fields was 12 of 20 for 111 yards. He got 3 rush attempts for 4 yards. This was a game 1 with defense, which is a surprise. The Vegas, the Gruden Vegas offense.
They might have had some distraction too this week with the whole Gruden thing. I don't know. I didn't really hear quotes from the locker room like, hey, maybe some of the African American players might have been a little upset, but at the same time, you can't say I'm mad at the coach, so I'm not going to play good. You still have to be looking out for your career. So I seen that narrative thrown around. It could have been a distraction for sure, but I don't think it was the cause of this team being this bad on offense.
I'll have to rewatch before I comment.
I want to.
Carr was obviously under pressure a lot. Bears brought the pass rush, and they did well with the pass rush. It looked like Carr got popped 4 times, 3 sacks.
He got popped hard one time. We saw some Peterman in there for a couple plays. I think he just ran it a couple times.
2 rushes.
That is the thing about the afternoon games. These early ones, I've had a chance to sit down with the box score during the afternoon games. These, not so much. So, I'm going to dig deeper into that one.
Yeah.
Cleveland Chargers, points.
Oh, man, dude. That game getting away for Cleveland stings. They
looked like they were running away.
Asses off. They played their asses off offensively, and the Chargers down 14 didn't panic, went forward deep in their own end zone, deep in their own territory a couple times, no problem. You know how we were trying? I mean, I say we, you know this, but it's been tough to figure out what's going on with Herbert and how he tends to have like some unusual statistics. He is exceptionally cool on 4th downs. Like I was not surprised that they went for the 4th downs they went for. Like that is now kind of their identity, and it's very cool to see. but Herbert execution on those plays was just outstanding. I thought in general the officiating was keeping the game close. And there was that one fourth down call that Green defend. I don't even know if it was fourth down. I think it wasn't. Yeah, no, this was the key swinging point in the game. It was fourth quarter. Chargers went for on fourth down. It was deep pass to Mike Williams. Green was in perfect. He was at the location the pass was being coming. He had his head around. There were two guys were hand fighting. Williams had his hand like up Green's jersey, and Green gets called for the PI on that play, and they give the Chargers the ball at the 30. That really, 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 really was a huge high leverage play. And in general, I thought the officiating was disappointing in that game.
Sure.
Browns a couple of times where they had drives where they could have take some time off the clock, put a little bit of pressure on the Chargers, get called with some really questionable holding calls. Ended up having a huge swing in the game. I'm sour grapes, obviously, so I'm not clear mind on this at all. But I thought they got a very favorable whistle, and then ultimately the game was won or lost on the basis of Stefanski having a 1 point lead. Stefanski had a 1 point lead, and he went
3-and-out was rough.
Mega conservative. It was
almost like
still don't understand what
he still had a little
Zimmer
left in him.
That was very Zimmer-esque. Absolutely
very
right.
Zimmer-esque. Absolutely.
Yeah. Kareem Hunt for 1 yard. Baker Mayfield pass deep left to Higgins. I didn't exactly get what that, like you throw a pass that's that's middle of the field. That's going to, be easy completion, take some time off the clock. You don't go for that, I don't think, but he did. And then a running play on 3rd and 9 to basically just concede 40 seconds off the clock and give the ball back to the Chargers at midfield when your defense is down all of the players they were down at that point and were completely and utterly gassed, guys laying on the field. After every, major play, like not a good job. Now, very reminiscent actually of the end of the game against the Chiefs in the playoffs. You remember, obviously, where they elected to punt the ball with 4 minutes remaining, and count on their defense getting a stop, which they did not, if you don't remember. The end of the game, here you have all these analytics in your back pocket and all of this, getting all of these pats on the back for, when you're going for it and when you're aggressive. And
if that game is tied, that drive, it's so funny how like something that is in your favor turns you into a worse team in the next drive.
Yeah, right.
Just play your normal offense instead of being ugly, and things probably turn out better. I didn't watch a ton of that game other than the fact that it was on Red Zone constantly. I was watching some other stuff, but I'll take your word for it on the officiating. You're usually pretty fair on that, even when it is against you.
It was
Dallas.
Yeah, the timing of the timing of a lot of the calls it was convenient for continuing a highly, to make the game entertaining. But then the one on the fourth down that was so high leverage was just completely indefensible in my opinion. But I don't know how else you're supposed to play defense.
Dallas, New York. New York looked squirrely, and then everyone got hurt. We probably would have had a closer game because New York was actually playing fairly well at several times during the last few weeks on offense. I'm not sure they could have ever kept pace, and Dallas probably would have been, pedal to the metal more if it would have been, a little more competitive, and we might have seen, 50 points out of Dallas, honestly. But getting your quarterback and your starting running back and actually there was a third player, maybe a lineman was hurt as well, I believe. Everybody ran to the window and bet the Cowboys live. I was one of them. Congrats to everybody. I'm not sure there was a number out there that didn't cash if you bet them in the first half live. So good job on that. And we'll check in on those injuries. I don't know if I'll be looking too closely at the Giants number next week without knowing the status of Danny Dimes, but he looked like he got his shit rocked. I don't know if he's playing next week. And certainly Saquon's ankle looked pretty rough. We already touched on San Francisco, Arizona. I don't have much to say on that other than I was a little disappointed in Trey and the usage.
Man, that one was tough. That one hurt. the 1 for 5 on 4th down, and then particularly that goal line. I thought he broke the plane.
It was so close.
I was pretty upset there, and that was huge because obviously a 7-point game, low scoring game. San Francisco's defense stepped up. I thought they played great, even in with some of the issues that they have in their secondary in terms of personnel who are available. Fred Warner was great in that game, and you hold the Cardinals to 17 points, you're in it. Trey Lance, actually, I think they outgained the Cardinals on offense by a decent amount. It was 340 to 304 in favor of San Francisco. First down's basically a draw. Another really weirdly officiated game. Did you catch that one drive in the third quarter where San Francisco started getting a little momentum up and they called offensive holding 3 times and then they did it every way?
Every time I looked up, it was San Francisco 1st and 20. It felt like there
were 3 calls on the same drive in the third quarter, and then the next drive another one, and all of them felt very ticky tack. What did you think?
I saw one.
Realistic?
Like, all right.
You thought they were fair?
He had his shoulder pad hooked. I'm like, yeah, they have to call that. I mean, it was right by the runner. So sometimes it's just bad luck, or the refs, saw it because they're holding on every play, for Christ's sake.
1 of 5 on 4th down is super tough, and a couple of them the juice check one was brutal. The goal line one was brutal. The Sanu drop at one point really made me want to scream. Everything went against the Niners, and they were still right there, almost covered. That one hurts. I'm still very convinced that the line was not correct, and anyone who backed the Cardinals, I think, got very lucky. Trey Lance probably wasn't ready for what they asked him to do out there. A lot of running attempts, 16 attempts, 89 yards on the ground for him, so he easily makes his rushing prop. However, Shanahan put him in harm's way often. None of those were designed in a way that Trey Lance was not going to get contact, and obviously, he plays through it. He's a tough kid, good for him, but I don't know how you expect him to have a lengthy career to the tune of giving away the assets you did to bring him in if that's the way you're going to use him. And ultimately, the Niners, this is probably going to be a disappointing season, I have to say. They're 2-3 right now. They have 2 losses in division. Go ahead.
Yeah, and right off the bat, too, Justin Fields is getting hit a lot, too. Like, they're, we're the guys that say, hey, it's fine. Like, let's get these rookie quarterbacks out there, see what we got. Let's not get them killed. Like, some of these play calls made me a little worried about Justin Fields as well, too. So I have every lineup, between several books, I have a line for everything right now. So while you were talking there, I filled in the updated lines from the look aheads on a few things, and then I also realized that I haven't updated my numbers on Seattle or New York Giants yet for quarterback play, because I'm like, oh boy, my Seattle Pittsburgh number is very wrong, but I need to make some sort of Gito adjustment that I haven't clicked in there yet. And then also for the Giants, with the probability that you're losing Saquon and Danny Dimes next week, pretty decent sized adjustment there as well. But no adjustment for the Thursday night game. That look ahead was 7. That is still 7. And, oh, man, that's a rookie head coach on Thursday Night Football, a team that looked dead for 3 quarters. Are they going to be able to keep this offense from doing whatever they want? Like, does this feel like a 7 that's going to get bet into, even though it's a road favorite? I mean, it's 7 plus 100 right now. I'm not saying I want to grab it right now, but boy, I can't see anything that would excite me about backing the Eagles right now against a team that just kind of keeps their foot on the throat.
Yeah, I mean, you have a rookie head coach on Thursday Night Football again for Philadelphia here. Philadelphia's offense should be able to do better than what we saw from Miami today. For whatever reason, Tampa Bay has been very disappointing in these primetime spots going on for a while now. I don't know why.
That's odd.
But this is an easy stay away for me. I think the side's probably Philadelphia. I mean, the fact that Philadelphia got bet so aggressively today and then they come away with the win. I don't think that was a Carolina fade. I think that was Philadelphia's support. And
I'm at like 7.4. I'm pretty fair on this number. I'm staying away unless we see something, I think. But this would be one where Philadelphia might be the right size. This closes down at like 6, and then Tampa just throws a couple long ones to AB late, and they win by 20 anyway. And it feels really bad. But
I mean,
you got to take those spots when you can get them.
Yeah,
we're paying a premium on the 7 right now. It's 7 minus 20. I'm not interested in taking extra juice for that against an offense that can do that to your ass. Especially
because your secondary for Philadelphia, in terms of downfield attack, is very exposable. So if Brady's having a sharp night, Evans and Godwin and Brown are going to be utterly unstoppable in the passing attack.
Another 8:30 game, early morning. Another couple teams that most people aren't that excited to watch, but Miami and Jacksonville will go at it. I am absolutely on market with this. I have it 2.9. It's 3. Got Miami on their second straight road game, and this one also being an international flight. We'll obviously keep you guys abreast of anything we get as far as travel information. You please do the same with us. If you guys see anything, hit us up in the DMs. It'd be interesting to know what. I mean, Jacksonville has a new head coach, but Christ, he should be able to like talk to whatever George Costanza is in their organization. Be like, what do we normally do? We've done this so many times. Like, just tell me when to leave. I doubt he'll do that. He doesn't seem like the brightest bulb when it comes to asking for other people for help. But it'll be interesting to see what they do between Flores and Urban. I'm on market here. The total's 45. Low for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, Miami's probably the right side, but I don't have the stomach to go to well with them. No way. Not. I guess 2 is probably going to be back.
That's the other thing.
Do you think that matters?
I don't know that he is, but if he is, it probably gets bet up. That's a decent upgrade. They're also missing a couple wide receivers at this point now. We'll see how the wide receiver injuries and Tua shakes out. So this is a no look right now because you have quarterback and 2 wide receivers battling some stuff for the next foreseeable future.
Okay. Pass.
Divisional game. Chicago off a win hosting Green Bay. This is a 4. Green Bay is favored by 4 in Soldier Field. If I go by my raw power rankings, that is a bad number. Even with Green Bay on a back-to-back off overtime, this was 4.5 on the look ahead. It actually came down off of Green Bay's surprisingly close game, I guess, and Chicago winning, but Chicago certainly didn't impress me. That said, Green Bay still has secondary issues. What say you?
Green Bay has defensive issues in general. They don't have a pass rush, so Chicago's offense should be a little more lively than what we saw today and what we saw. You remember the 3 games we've seen from Fields now. The game against Cleveland, he was dead in terms of just they were on his ass every freaking passing down. The game he won against the Lions, he had all the time in the world to operate, and he was a little more effective. Today, he was under duress from time to time, and he got hit a bunch, and he wasn't especially effective. They still win. I think a Green Bay toothless pass rush, probably, this is an overplay, 46. Sucks that, Green Bay.
I'm a little gun shy about a Green Bay over right now.
Yeah, and at Soldier Field. Soldier Field, they grow the grass in the fall, and sometimes it's a little slower field. It's slower afoot.
There's a 45.5 out there in the market if you're interested. I'm staying away, even though I do agree with the sentiment as far as both teams should be able to get their offenses going against these defenses right now. The Chicago defense is it's not good, but a good call, Patrick. Don't play Chicago total early in the week. You could have some winds down there on the lake too. It's not as bad as Cleveland or how some of these other stadiums are set up, but it can still get awful windy there on the shores of Lake Michigan. That takes us to Kansas City and the football team. Kansas City plays tonight, so probably leave this alone. They're a decent favorite versus a team that looked pretty poopy at times against a team that we don't understand. So there's kind of a transitive property of maybe I don't understand Washington football team yet. And again, the Chiefs play tonight. I don't want to get involved take the Chiefs and then Mahomes blows his knee out or something. That would be a bad feeling all around for everybody, especially the people who like to watch football. God, where does that put me? Minnesota, Carolina. Oof. There's some coaching staffs we talked shit about today. This is a pick in Carolina. Minnesota coming off it was a nice. I mean, the last drive. You can't say anything bad about that last drive. They did that perfectly. They got down there in a hurry and got that field goal off and won the game. But man, that playing with a lead is bad. I don't think it's like a live over spot. It might be a live take the dog plus the point spot when Minnesota has a lead. If they're going to play that conservatively, I make Carolina a slight favorite here just because I haven't done any adjustments for them yet. So I'm not interested in this. This total is 47. That's probably pretty fair.
Yeah, I think Minnesota is going to be the bet side, if I had to guess. I mean, Carolina, they can't really hurt you down the field. We may see Christian McCaffrey back. Minnesota is the better team, should win this game. But the coaching staff makes it miserable on you if you back them. So just know
running with a parachute on for sure.
I think I need to let this one mature. I doubt this gets beyond bettable range if I ultimately decide Minnesota's the right look. So I think this one can wait.
The Chargers will be playing. It's an early game for a West Coast team, which is tricky. But Baltimore also will be off short rest because they are going to play Monday night. So little advantages for each team. I'm pretty close to this. It's 3.5. Obviously, we really liked what we saw from the Chargers offense today, but yet to see Baltimore play this week. I have this about a 4. I haven't upgraded the Chargers yet this week. We'll see what happens to Baltimore. If Baltimore's going to get some of these wide receivers back from injury, their offense is going to look quite a bit different, hopefully. I have Baltimore at home. I have this pretty much on market, minus 3.6. I haven't upgraded the Chargers there. So maybe Chargers and the points is something I'd be interested in once I give them that upgrade. I don't know. I'm not excited about backing them in a weird spot in an early East Coast game, I guess. Although we do have a good coach, and you would think that translates to traveling and other things like that. So a heavy lean towards the Chargers on the other side of the hook. I think probably the bet side, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless Baltimore goes scorched earth tomorrow, and in which case, this could be 4. So you may want to wait, right?
Yeah, I'm holding off on this because I actually do like Baltimore quite a bit tomorrow to get it done.
I think Baltimore's defense is not going to fare well against this Chargers team. What do you think?
Oh, especially when you have to defend 4 downs. Like, that's annoying. Like, nothing more annoying than when you're playing a team that knows when to go for it. Because, come on, just kick it. Punt here.
Yeah.
There's the old joke on Twitter, like, hey, if you bet against this team and you're excited that they're kicking the field goal or punting, it means it's the wrong decision.
Yeah,
for sure. That's what makes it annoying betting against those teams. So, hopefully Baltimore plays well. I get a +4. I'll probably be on the Chargers this week.
I'll probably bet the over if nothing else here, just because you're getting those either short fields for Baltimore or touchdown drives for the Chargers.
Yeah, looking at a 50. I don't have my total stuff up yet.
I can bet into a 49.5. I think I'm going to take that.
Okay. Put it on the board, Dan. Well, 49.5 for Drew. Nothing for me yet. Detroit coming off a gut-wrenching loss. Cincinnati is a 3.5 point favorite on the road. Man, are we going to have to bet Detroit again? Nobody wants to do that.
Hell no. Not against the Cincinnati team. No way.
No.
Cincinnati's got a live offense, although Burrow rushed to the hospital with something today, right? What was that?
a bruised trachea or something, a contusion of the throat, which sounds painful. I'm guessing he got judo chopped in a tackle or something, or just caught an arm to the neck or something. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not
Detroit,
betting into that one.
Detroit doesn't have anywhere close to the defense to keep Cincinnati contained in this spot. The fact that it's 3.5, probably. I mean, Cincinnati's been the hot side now a bunch this season. Somebody out there making markets loves them.
It's only 48. I want to see how some of these injuries progress for both teams, especially Cincinnati's secondary and Detroit's skill position for Detroit. I'll probably stay away from this. But if this ticks down, if this takes under money, I may be the buyback at like 46, 47. Although I'm a little tilted off the last one, so maybe I will not be. The next one is Giants Rams. Again, I'm probably skipping this for now just because we have massive injuries on the Giants side. I just made a quick adjustment. I literally just have a cell I can punch in a number where it's like, throw this in as an adjustment just to see what's going on. And
Sure.
I made a 3-point adjustment from dimes to what is his name? The neck.
Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon. Glennon's a good backup, actually. He's been around. He's played enough games. It's not inexperienced, so it's not a big downgrade.
He should be able to execute the Jason Garrett offense.
That is a good call. I punched in a 3, and then I went over to my lines, and I had it at a 10. This is a 10.5, so maybe that's a pretty decent adjustment, I guess, if you're looking to make one. Rams are minus 10.5. I don't have interest in laying those kind of points on the road, especially early game for a West Coast team in the Meadowlands, and also the second leg of a back-to-back road stretch for the Rams, although they are off Thursday night, so they do get a little extra rest before they go head to New York. I'm pretty on market there, leaving that one alone. Boy, am I going to bet anything today? Cleveland, Arizona.
Yeah, I think Cleveland
minus
but their
2.5.
defense, man, the injuries on this defense are so serious at this point. Like, they lost Denzel Ward in game. They were down a couple of big bodies on the D line. This is rough, man. Injuries everywhere for Cleveland. It's tough. However, they match up well against Arizona. Arizona's not that good. And Kyler Murray looked a little banged up today. What did you see there?
Yeah, I just seen that in the chat. Someone said, "Is he good to go?" Sure, he's good to go. So I'll have to check on that because he might have got banged up more than I saw, I guess. So if he's at all injured, and this is 2.5, it's looking pretty good. This total is high, but is it high enough? Maybe caught in the moment a little, but it's only 54.5. I thought we'd see like a 56 here. These are offenses that can go when they are going, although, obviously the Arizona offense was a little stymied today. So leaning Browns, not taking anything right now.
Yeah, weather is got to keep an eye on that, obviously.
Imagine betting the over 54 and then we get the wind tunnel game again. Denver. Just like we thought, not that good, probably, even though I did almost bet them this week when the Teddy news came in. I was waiting for the Teddy versus Haskins game. That would have been fun. I make this Denver favored by a couple points. They're favored by a couple points. It looks like we have a 3 in the market. These are teams that are very, very close to league average in my rankings, both of them. Not too far from each other, and it is in Denver. I'm not laying 3 with Denver here.
Yeah, it looks kind of windy in Cleveland, so pass on that over. I'm not laying 3 with Denver either. Vegas, I mean, these two teams that, the narrative around this game is going to be, a couple of frauds. Who's the fraudier fraud?
Who's the fraudiest fraud?
Who's the fraudiest fraud? Denver dealing with a cluster injury at wide receiver is being kind of quietly looked over. I don't know how they're going to, put up points on this Las Vegas team. Offensive line has some issues as well. Vegas at least can rush the passer. Their defense may be the distinguishing unit in this game. Under 44 is probably going to get bet. I think that probably closes around 42.
Yeah, the total probably gets ticked down a little here.
I'm not going to take any part in that,
No.
but I think that under gets bet.
I'm gonna dig in. I feel bad that I haven't bet anything. I'm gonna dig a little more into some of these, make some adjustments, probably fire on some stuff. I'll tweet it out, but I'm gonna skip the Seattle Pittsburgh game because we need to see, what kind of adjustment I want to make for Gino. I'm gonna skip Buffalo Tennessee because Buffalo plays tonight. That only leaves Dallas New England. Dallas is a 3-point favorite. Did we see and again, good job by some of you guys getting some
Look
ones.
at one.
Yeah, they're up. I think they're up to 3.5 in the market. There are some threes out there. If you look, you might pay 15 cents, but I mean that's got to be a bet, right? New England's just not playing very well on defense. Nothing says that this offense can't travel and do just what they did the past couple weeks. And right now it is, it is a 3.5 pretty much in the market. So good job people grabbing that early.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dallas is probably the right side here. I don't have any strong inclination to get behind either of these two teams. I think New England probably tries to slow this game down. The offensive line for the Patriots today was a huge question mark going into that game, but ultimately they played okay. They're going to get some of those guys back healthy this week, so maybe the offensive line is a little better, but those guys have sucked.
This is a bit narrative-y, but is it? Like the fact that Davis Mills and the people that put the plays together for him were able to do what they did in the first half, especially, what does that say about a Dak-led offense with Coop? And I mean, they were working it down the field at times.
Yeah, and they don't take their foot off. They don't take their foot off the gas, which is pretty cool. A lot of Mike McCarthy, to his credit, I suppose, does not wave the white flag. He continues to continues to run, an offense that's dynamic. The Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard combo is an absolute disaster in the second half. They are so freaking good. Dak Prescott, 302 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an int today. The int was fluky because it was a tip. This is Dallas or pass. I'm
gonna sell this out to 4. I'm gonna bet this Dallas -4. That's
the real question is: does Diggs get another interception? If he ends
that's the thing. If you throw a ball at Diggs, you're gonna end up with an extra possession.
Do you have a read on what's going on there? Is that repeatable? Does he continue to stockpile
No, I mean he's very good, but he's a good player. You have to be a good player, but also in the right place at the right time. Interceptions are some luck, some skill. Fumble recoveries are a lot of luck. So yeah, and that's the thing. He picked Glennon, not Danny Dimes. So
he did, yeah.
He's thriving on bad ones. Do you want to touch Monday Night Football for like 2-3 minutes before we?
Yeah, I mean, I think the major takeaway about Monday Night Football is this is probably your market buy low on Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore could lose next week to the Chargers. There's no guarantee there, but they are 3.5-point favorites right now, so that's an expected win. They are home until the middle of November. They will probably be favorites of 3.5 or more every week that Lamar is healthy until Thanksgiving, where they go at Cleveland. At Cleveland is probably the next game on their schedule, like week 13 or something, where they're going to be meaningful dogs. So basically get in now on anything that you may want for Baltimore to win the AFC North, to win
division,
to win the AFC, Lamar Jackson MVP, all that stuff you probably need to bet now.
And yes, we are worried about Diggs getting DPOI. Like if he gets 10 interceptions, we might be shit out of luck. Like that just
I'm going to be pretty angry.
We talked about that preseason, like for defensive rookie of the year or defensive player of the year, like a cornerback or a safety having high counting stats like that. It means a lot in those award markets. So
let's not forget that Myles Garrett got one today too. He got a sack and he would end a pass defense and he had 3 pressures. So he continues to have an outstanding
spread the word on that guy
himself. He is up to 8 sacks on season, 8.5. He should have gotten another half sack, but the scorekeeper did not give him credit for it.
Maybe we'll get an overnight adjustment on that.
I don't know if we will.
Yeah, and somebody says the Dallas boost is real. It doesn't hurt to play for Dallas and play a bunch of primetime games throughout the season as well. Here's one quick thing to leave you with.
Yeah.
Dak, and granted, I have no stake in this, but I do have some I brought this up to Drew. I said, what if Dak just throws for like 303 touchdowns and eventually he is one of the 4 front runners for MVP? If they stay healthy, if they win the division handily, and he's got a lot of counting stats, and he's in the MVP market, you're not going to get MVP and comeback player of the year. I just don't think that's it. Like some weird player could get comeback player of the year if Dak wins MVP. Although I think it's Herbert's to lose right now, right?
It's a 5. Well, Herbert is in great position because he has a coach that understands what's going on, and he is playing outstanding football. It's a 5-man race, in my opinion. I would look at it because, again, this comes down to statistical profile combined with being a top 2 seed in your conference and a quarterback. And I think the likely top 2 seeds right now are Tampa and Dallas in the NFC. So that puts Tom Brady and Dak into the discussion. In the AFC, you're going to have Mahomes always in the conversation. Herbert, whoever wins that division is going to be a top 2 seed. And then Lamar and Baltimore probably are going to get a top 2 seed at this point. So I think those are the 5 guys you look at. You can make it like you can sell me a price on Aaron Rodgers as well, just because I think the Packers will be maybe a bubble 2 seed, probably a 3 seed though. And that defense is now hurting so much that he's going to have to be aggressive and score points and get the stats. So he may end up with a pretty decent profile at the end of the day. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you on Rodgers a little more fringe for me just because he just won it and because of some of the stuff that's going to happen to him because of the coaching. We did briefly touch on next week's Sunday Night Football. It's not off the board by any means, but with the Seattle quarterback thing, I wasn't 100% sure how far to adjust this. This is a 3 in the look ahead, and the look ahead was with Geno. These were the lines that are available this week, Friday, after we knew about the injury. This is now a 4, and I really don't know how to treat that. Pittsburgh favored by 4 at home versus Seattle. Obviously, it would have been much different if we had Russ healthy. Man, I feel like even with the adjustments, I can't quite get to Pittsburgh being favored by 4 here. No but way. Do you really want to go to war with Geno Smith
Carroll and Geno Smith? No.
Yeah, so I mean it's the right side, wrong side thing.
Yeah.
Salvi Perez banging the drum. Still not winning
the might be a lean week for me betting wise.
I have some total stuff. My total stuff doesn't really take shape until further into the season as the nature of Bayesian inference works, I guess.
Sure.
Learned a lot from Mr. Plus CV Analytics, so some more information is always useful for that sort of stuff, and I think I'm going to be digging into more totals this week for sure, and the game is just kicked off on my stream.
Cool. All right, well, let's go watch this. I'll catch you at halftime.
Hurtful. And Geno and Russ have the same number of MVP votes lifetime.
Oh, that's true.
Usually I just gloss over Kyle's comments because they're mean, but that one's pretty funny.
That was and
to close it, I tweeted about this. Made 0 sense. The play calls were somehow more aggressive with Geno.
Well, it's because they were they had to be.
They were in comeback mode, but even I don't know.
That's the very frustrating thing about coaching right now in the NFL. The haves and the have-nots could not be farther apart.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's wrap.
Go watch the first half of football. Good luck to you.
Yeah, Kansas City driving. Love that they're getting Jerick McKinnon involved early, huh?
Yeah,